Welcome to a new year on the We Know Nothing show. We were going to carry it on in the sense of have episode 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever, but seeing that it's a new year, we've decided to start with a new season in the sense of, so it's the second season, episode 1. So welcome guys. As you can see from the bottom screen, we have got the one and only Daniel Jackson, one of the show's favourite guests. Welcome again. Thanks for taking your time to out your busy lifestyle. As you can see, Daniel's joining us from satellite in the Dominican from his office. So thank you for taking the time to come on, DJ. His new haircut, and his new trim. So thanks for coming on, DJ. As always, we appreciate you coming on and to talk all things football related. Youngie, welcome to the We Know Nothing show, son. Couldn't do it without you as always. Guys, as always, I'm going to bore you with the last bit. I know this is the most boring bit of it, but as you all know, we are striving to get better at this. Every time we do it, there are going to be a couple of movements this year, hopefully, to make it a lot bigger than it is. So any feedback, as long as it's productive and helps us, we're all for it. Try and keep the negativity to a minimum, please. Youngie, kick us off, mate.
Yeah, so again, welcome DJ, welcome Mark. Tonight we're going to talk about the club that we three support, really. We're not going to do much outside of that tonight, so we're just going to talk about Burnley. I nearly said the Marty Clarets then, but that'd be a statement, wouldn't it? Look, it's not over yet. It's a big season. It's a long season. I think we said there's 18 days or so left in the transfer window, so we probably need about 18 players in. So let's see how we go from there. But yeah, I think tonight let's just we'll have a chat about the outgoing that happened this first thing this morning, and then they're really on to who we want to see coming. And I'll put you on the spot and we'll talk about some rumours of people coming in and what you think of them rumours. Deej, let's kick us off. What do you think of the sale of the best striker in world football?
DJ drove him there.
I would have done.
I don't know. It were mix of emotions, really, because as soon as I got that first notification that it was going, I instantly thought, what are Burnley Football Club doing? And then it came out, there was a trigger in his contract to enable him to go, and Newcastle had pumped out the money for him. And I thought, that's a good bit of business for Burnley. And then I instantly thought, again, no, that is not good business for Burnley, because we've let go of our main striker, despite the fact he's not had the best season, in my opinion. And then I thought, again, no, it'll be good business if we use the money wisely in the transfer market. So I think in money terms, we've got a good deal from what we've seen of him, particularly recently. But I'll only stick by that if we get new players in that'll do the job up top. That's the only way I see it happening. Am I sorry to see him go? I don't know. Time will tell. Just got to see what happens in this window. But we've definitely weakened our squad by selling him. I'll say that. And that's it. I'm really on the fence about it all, if I'm honest.
Go on then, Mark. Have you seen it?
Where do you start? I think at first, like DJ said, when the news broke, I were absolutely raging at first, because I just thought to myself, what are we doing? He's been, and I'm not going to mince my words and hide behind any loyalty to the club. He's been shit this year. 3 goals in 18 games is not good enough.
They've all been awful this year, though, haven't they?
Yeah,
it's not just him alone.
Not just him. No, not just him. But I feel like his performances, and I've said it for weeks about Chris Wood. Chris Wood is about 6'2", and he's going about 14, 15 stone, and he's quite a bulky lad. And he disappoints me how he plays when he just gets bullied all the time, and it frustrates the life out of me. But from a business point of view, I'm sort of leaning towards the fact of we have 18 days left in this window. If we use that money, then I'm not bothered who's gone, because going off the rumours and going off the information that's being pumped through the club, it's positive. Now we are still in the transitional period of having a new board, new ideas, new ways of doing business. So I'm not under no illusions. The thing for me is that I'd like to think Burnley have kicked on from when Mark Garlick were there, in the sense of I'd like to think that they've already got a replacement lined up, and that's why they've allowed. I mean, I know they couldn't really do anything because obviously his release clause was triggered, and I get that. But I just feel like it's a completely different Burnley, in the sense of, we've got 25 million for a 30-year-old who's been absolutely dogger for us, which I still can't believe we got that much money for him. And I think some of the players that they've been linked with over the last 24, 48 hours as well is quite exciting. But I will go on record, and this is being recorded, everybody, and you've heard it here first. If Burnley Football Club do not sign any players with that money and do not sign anyone, I will not go on for the rest of the season. And that's it. Because if they do not sign anyone from now until the end of the window, that's a total disgrace. And also, I'll put in the bracket of, we've recently been linked with Jermaine Defoe. If they get Jermaine Defoe in, for me, Jermaine Defoe is an impact player. If they get Jermaine Defoe in to replace Chris Wood, then again, that's me done. Because I feel like there'd be someone made a good point, and I suppose you've got to look at it from that. Someone stated the other day, I think they're preparing for life in the Championship by selling Chris Wood, because they're trying to get the money in now so they can build for next season. But if that's the case, then I'm ashamed to say it, that they're throwing the towel in now, which is a disgrace. There's still, like you say, a long way to go.
So yeah, I get your points there, to be fair, and I think I'll throw my 2 pence within. I think for a club, it's a great deal. I agree with you guys. Looking at it, I'm thinking, what are we doing here? But if I'm right in saying his clause doesn't come into play until the summer transfer window, so I believe it's been actioned by the current owner of the club, and allowed him. They've met that money now, so they've allowed him to go. So again, that could lead back to what you've just said there, that they're preparing for the Championship, which at the minute it looks likely is a direction that we're heading. However, the only thing I don't like about us heading to the Championship is that fucking bastards down the road look like they could be heading towards the Premier League, and that is just not something I'd like to think about. If I was a gambling man right now, or I was managing the club right now, I'd be looking at Fulham and trying to sign Mitrovic, because he's a striker and he can score his goals and he doesn't mess around when he gets in front of goal. And he'd be an ideal replacement. For me, that's an ideal replacement for him. Yes, he's going to cost quite a bit of money because he's scoring them goals in Championship. Is he going to leave? I'm not sure. I'd go like for like, yeah. Being linked with Jermaine Defoe, I'm not having that, I'm not having that. It just bumps that age up of our team. Our squad needs to go the other way.
You don't think Jermaine Defoe's, though, and this is what one of the lads was saying today, you don't think Jermaine Defoe's like a sort of stopgap until the end of the year, in the sense of he will take potentially Barnes' place?
But we've just got 25 million. We're going to get him on a free.
That's what I mean, though. So if they use that 25 million, go and sign a striker, but then also get Jermaine Defoe in on a free transfer.
Oh, if you get Jermaine Defoe in on a free transfer, then I think at the minute Vidra's injured, Barnes is injured, and I wouldn't even give him a Burnley shirt ever again.
I think we've only got one fit striker at the minute.
You've got Jay, who has not really been hitting the heights a minute, But again, like, I watched the game against Huddersfield, and there was a number of times that the goal that they scored was the ball that just got played back from the right back into the midfielder, and he whipped the ball over the back four. Jay made a perfect run, scored a great goal. After that, there was 3 or 4 times in that same half where that ball was played back. Jay made the same run, and the ball then was turned away and played into midfield, played across midfield and out the other side. It then petered out. And I just thought, why are we just not playing that ball? We've done it once. We've done it, just give him another go because he's making them runs.
Yeah.
I've got a big one that I can see Sean Dyche leaving before the end of the season. I think he'll go. I think if we don't move for a player and we don't sign anybody, he'll go. I think that's where I think. Some more words on Chris Wood. He's come out and said it wasn't an easy decision. Spent 4.5 years at a great years. Every single year, I really enjoyed myself there. My teammates, the staff, the club were all fantastic. I wish I'd left Burnley when we were further up the league. But if we were further up the league, then you wouldn't be leaving for Newcastle, who are down the bottom.
The bottom of the league, yeah, exactly.
I think it's great business. I think he's a 30-year-old. I think he scored 3 goals and he's played nearly every game for us this season. At times, he's had some fantastic balls in. There was one a week ago where it was bang on his head in front of goal, and it still might be on its way up. My only issue I've got now, and I can see it clear as day, it's going to go down to the last game of the season because Watford are going to be, it's going to be Norwich, Watford, Newcastle, Burnley, or Burnley, Newcastle. And Kieran Trippier is going to whip a ball in with a minute to go, and Chris Wood's going to bang header in the back post, and we're going to get beat 1-0. I won't like to get relegated because the two have scored against us. Kieran Trippier is not going to sign for another club when he comes back to the Premier League other than Burnley, and Chris Wood, who's just signed it transfer window.
He'll be ruled out offside for VAR. He'll be offside, and then we can all laugh at him as they go down. I don't know. I mean, it's nice that Chris Wood's come out and just appreciated his time at Burnley, because sometimes players leave for bigger money and you don't hear a snippet from him. So, he's appreciated his time there, which is good to see. It will have been easy for him to sign that deal. I mean, come on. I mean, the contract will probably be 3 to 4 times as much as what he was on at Burnley. So it would have been an easy decision. Of course it would.
Yeah, he's 30-year-old as well.
I think the thing that's hard to take for Burnley fans is we've sold to a relegation rival that have got bags of cash. Of the other 19 teams in Premier League, none of them would have stumped up cash for Chris Wood, whatever position they're in. No way.
No, absolutely
so not. That leaves a sour taste in the mouth a little bit. However, it's going back to the first point that I made, that we've got to spend that money wisely. I said to Mark before Leeds and Huddersfield, we have to be active in the transfer market now, and that was with the thought of Chris Wood still being at the club.
Yeah.
We had to be active, and we weren't. And it got to January 10th, 11th, and we're not even linked with anyone.
Yeah, where we're going.
And then the Chris Wood story came out, and I was like, oh my God, we're going backwards here. But yes, we've still got time, but we've got 3 big fixtures coming up this month. Get on with it. Get active in that window. It's the biggest transfer window Burnley have had since Sean Dyche has been in charge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think we got Leicester at the weekend. They've got noticeable injuries, but a few of them are coming back. They've got a few people still out with COVID, so the chance is there to get something out of Leicester. But our first team squad got beat by Huddersfield. It wasn't as if it was a depleted side that we put out. Yeah, there was a couple of changes here and there, followed by Watford. That's the biggie for me. If we beat Watford, we put ourselves in that better position. We just hope that Newcastle don't do anything in that time as well. And then, I'd like to see us get some out of Leicester and get some out of Watford. And if we can do that, then, try and get closer to Leeds.
And Newcastle and Watford play each other on Saturday as well. That's a biggie to look out.
For me, I want
a 0-0 draw there, don't we?
Yeah, 100%, mate, or just a draw. But maybe I'm just being negative. I mean, I've watched us for the last few games. The ones what have been on Sundays and stuff, because obviously Saturdays are taken up by playing. But I watched the Man United game, and I weren't anything but impressed with them. I thought the application of them all were really good. I thought we looked hungry. We looked, we just again like that clinical edge of it, and we probably could have got something from that United game. And then watched us against Leeds, and I think it was up there one of the worst performances I've seen. I mean, the game I went on with DJ not so long ago against West Ham at home. I just feel like at the moment, and I don't know whether this is coming from Sean himself. I mean, I've been Sean's biggest fan for years and years and years, but for me now, it's fucking crunch time for him. He is the manager of our football club, so for me now, the buck stops with him. This idea of fine margins and we're not quite at it at the minute. We'll get them at it then. Start working on the things. Stop coming out every game and saying it's fine margins. Them fine margins are going to be the ones that cost us relegation this season if we don't start picking up these results.
This will be his biggest achievement as a Burnley manager if
he keeps us up. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that squad.
But I cannot see it happening. I'm being negative as well now, to be honest. But I can't see it happening with that current squad. And that was before.
We need to add players, don't we?
There's just no energy. There's just no energy. Yeah, there's just no energy. Every performance we're doing at the minute is like, I don't know. It's like the players don't believe in themselves anymore. It's like lethargic performances. I mean, the whole point of it for me, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, I might have said it to you, Deej, about James Tarkowski. For me, James Tarkowski is coming into his last 6 months of his contract. He's now eligible to talk to clubs and maybe get a deal for himself next year. His attitude in the Leeds game just personified everything what's wrong with our club at the minute. He weren't bothered about giving the ball away. His attitude, he was smiling, he was laughing and joking and stuff. Now, for me, if you're going into your last 6 months of your contract and you've had teams sniffing around you like West Ham and Leicester and teams like that, you want to be putting yourself in that shop window. You want to be playing the best football you can play, because they're going to be looking and thinking,
I've got a point for you on this.
On a free.
I've got a point for you on this, though. Can you remember when we signed him and what he did?
Yeah. At Brentford, he did same.
He went on strike.
We watched that game.
He went on strike at Brentford. Didn't want to play for him.
Yeah, it came out. It was a Friday night match on Sky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they came out straight away and said he's on strike. He's not playing. And Sean Dash got interviewed before, and he like no comment sort of thing. But he literally just said, "I want to join Burnley. I want to go up north."
And that's it.
He's doing the same. He's doing the same now,
potentially could do the same again, but you're right in what you're saying. Leeds and a Huddersfield game,
I thought we started well against Leeds. I thought the first
10-15 minutes we
looked like we were on it. I thought, oh my god, here we go, and then we just kept getting caught on counter. If it were me right now, I'd be like, talks you out of this side, mate, see you later.
Yeah, get Collins in.
We've got Collins.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're not interested in talking about a new contract, if you're not interested in putting loads of effort in, then seeing a bit.
Sit on bench.
Sit on bench. Here's your bench. Go and sit with. What's he called? Who's Kevin Long?
Who steals a living?
Mr. Testimonial. What were I going to say, Mark? You mentioned a thing earlier about Chris Wood saying that he was in his comfort zone on Burnley, and you were quite pissed off about that. Yeah. I've got a different spin on that, which I'll text you about. I wasn't offended by that comment. I think he's kind of right, and I think he means the squad as a whole, because he was convinced he was going to get a starting place every week, and he did.
Every week, yeah.
But you can say that about the other 10 players. You can name a starting 11 in Sean Dyche's squad.
Yeah.
No matter how shit they've been playing for weeks on end, and Chris Wood included, he was guaranteed to start. And I think that's what he meant. I think that's what he meant by being in your comfort zone, not improving. Because I don't know. I think
they're not being dropped, are they? They're not being
Well, none of them are being dropped, and if we had a squad or players that may compete in those positions, you'd say the likes of Tarky we've mentioned, Chris Wood could have got dropped numerous occasions. Dwight McNeil, another, could have been dropped.
Again, though, Dwight McNeil's been a fantastic player up until this season, but again, I have to agree with that. I think he's probably got into his comfort zone knowing that he's the only winger that we've got. And
100%,
the young lad and was linked.
Dash seems to have this loyalty with the same 11 that's kind of costing Burnley their place in the Premier League, I think. And it's happened for about 18 months, 2 years. So
it's the same with Matt Lawson as well.
Yeah. Some Burnley fans that were annoyed today with what Chris Wood said. I took a different approach to what he said there, where I was thinking, you know what, he might be right.
I think now we've the dust has settled and smoke's cleared, so to speak, from what's been said. I saw that when he said it at first, I thought what he was meaning is that he were sort of content at just being the main striker for Burnley. You know, he weren't really fussed. It weren't really a big deal for him. But then when I look into it properly in his words and in his sincerity in his message he's put out later on, thanking the fans and thanking the club, I think what he was meaning is that he's 30-year-old. He's not going to get many opportunities to test himself in an environment going up to Newcastle Whirling fans and stuff and the pressure and stuff. So in that sense, fair play to him if he wants to sort of challenge himself. I mean, Youngie, I'm interested to get your point on this next question I've got for you. So DJ's made a great point in the sense of Dash seems to be costing us our place in the league because he's too loyal to the players. Going off the squad that we've got at the minute, so going off the whole squad, what changes would you make on Saturday, and what do you think is sort of needed from a fan's point of view?
So I think I would make 2 changes in the back 4, and that would be Tarkowski. I would pull Tarkowski out and I would pull Matt Lawton out, and I would put in Collins, as we've already said, and Roberts, who has played 60 minutes midweek for the younger lads. Yeah, he's not fully fit, but he just offers something else. Or move him further up the field because he can whip it. He can put a ball in, can Roberts. So, and he loves attacking. So play him as a right winger because we're missing wingers. You know, I think we're struggling for a striker. So you're going to put Jay Rodriguez in there. So why not bang a young lad in from the start? We've done it. We did it last season where we were struggling and we needed somebody. And it wasn't last season. It was the season before, wasn't it? And we brought in Dwight McNeil. We brought Dwight McNeil in. And Josh Benson was at the same time. He obviously didn't quite hit the heights that McNeil did at the time. I think it's about time that we turn to that. We need to sign players. I don't know about this bloke from is it Lille?
Rems.
We're trying to
Rems. That was Fofana. Seco Fofana.
I'm not sure about signing players that haven't got any. I would be looking at Premier League experience, not old, but somebody that's been in and around a Premier League team. They don't necessarily have had to have played loads of Premier League games, but just the midfield needs some pace in it. If it was me, I want Corney back. We need him. He's been our talisman for the last. Whenever he plays, whenever he comes on, he gives us something. Look at the free kick against Leeds. He just gives us a net from day dot. The moment that he got in the right position, he give us that impact. When they moved it. When I went to Southampton and watched him against Southampton, he started him on the left-hand side. He was getting that high in attack. That's where they went and attacked. the moment that they changed that half time, yes, they came out in the second half, had a couple of chances straight away. But once we got on the ball, we looked like a completely different team because he was in our side and we were attacking with him.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that runs with the ball at people and tries to take them on with a little bit of trickery. And if he loses, he knows he's got a defensive side behind him, or did have. That's the thing that's letting us down at the minute. Last season, we were about keep the ball out of the back of our net and nick one. Yeah. We're not a team that, the old Manchester United teams, they would be happy to concede one goal because they'd score two, they'd score three.
Yeah.
Last season, we were that team that would not concede many goals, but, Nick Pope nearly won Golden Glove for the league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because we weren't conceding. Yeah. I don't think he's playing poorly. I think he's still making some brilliant saves. He's probably the only player at the minute that's actually worth his shot on his back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see. I'd still stick with 4 at back. You can't play anything less, I don't think, at this moment in time in Premier League. We haven't got the players. Probably not change a little bit of the formation. But Kone is the big factor that we're missing at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think DJ, what about you, pal? What would you potentially change
for Saturday's game? Similar, probably the same as Young in terms of defence. I think Connor Roberts definitely needs a start now. Just give him a go. It's a shame he hasn't started early in the season because he potentially would have been brilliant there. I think Collins is deserving of his chance. Every time he's played, he's done well, and then gets dropped the following week because Taki and Mia is his favourite too. And they've been rewarded for the loyalty to a certain extent, but they've not played well enough to justify their starting place, especially Tarks. Recent weeks. And then with only having one striker, you're going to have to go 5 in midfield, aren't you?
Or could you?
Go on.
Sorry, go on. You're right.
No, so I can't see any other way of doing a formation with just the one striker fit, unless you played Dwight Neal in behind Jay and still go 4, but that leaves your wingers being Lennon possibly and Goodmunson, but. Yeah, probably. I think they'll do a 4-5-1. They'll have Stevens, Cork, and Westwood in the middle. Goodmunson and McNeil are the wings with Jay up top. I think that's the way he's going to go because he's going back to the loyalty aspect, and we've not got a lot of options, to be honest. So I think that's the way it goes.
Sorry, Deej.
It's all right.
I think if I'm right in saying at the start of this season, we all said that we would like to see Dwight McNeil playing in behind a front 2.
Yeah.
Because he's been great out on the wing for us for a couple of years now, but we can see him in that role where he's just feeding in the back and he's playing balls in and around, and he keeps playing.
Yeah.
Give him a bit of a free role.
I think he's better. Yeah, he'd be better in those environments because I've noticed recently a lot of fans are actually a bit pissed off with his attitude where I sit, especially on the tracking back front. He's a young lad that doesn't want to track back a lot. Now, he does work hard, don't get me wrong, but I've noticed in a lot of second halves, when it's coming down his side and Charlie Taylor, he's just jogging. Yeah. He's not tracking back the way he used to because he's more advantageous to us in forward positions. That free role, you don't need to track back really, do you? You can do your defensive work, but I think he'd be better there just behind the front man. But Dash doesn't have that tactical nous of a free role in an attacking area.
Doesn't seem to, does it?
Yeah, I do think that a change is needed. I think going at the back, getting Tarky out of that team, getting Lawton out of that team, putting Roberts and Collins in. I think we're all in agreement that Collins has done really well every time he's played. He's solid. He's a big lad. He's a big, strong boy. I'm going to blow people's mind with what I'm going to say now, because I think we need a completely different mindset for Saturday and a completely different sort of. I think we need something where the fans are going to turn up that game thinking, "Holy shit, he's made a wholesale change and he's changed the way we're playing. And he's done this because he needs to." I'd go 4-3-3, and I'd do it in a way where we do. Your midfield three would be Cork, Westy and Brownhill, even though I'm not a fan of Westy at the minute. And then I would play Lennon, McNeil, and Finger.
Finger, who's that? Is he a new signing?
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
fucking yet.
I wish. Not yet.
Is he free and over 40?
But what I would do though is I wouldn't do it where Lennon and McNeil play on the wings. I would do it as a 4-3-2-1. So I've Dwight and Lennon in front of the three, and then just behind Jay. Because I watched Lennon against Man United and I thought he was fantastic against United. He was buzzing around. He was very, very mobile, very quick.
It was the best game I've seen him play actually.
He scored that goal as well. It was a decent goal.
Yeah,
and
he had Maguire on. He had Maguire on toast, but that's not hard. I think all three of us could have Maguire on toast. But I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's what's needed for me. I think for me, there's a lot of worries, anguish, fears around the club at the minute, and you know, it's like playing that devil's advocate, so to speak. We need to get behind the lads. We need to get behind them 100%. We need to get behind them, but they need to give us something to get behind because they can't carry on playing this style of football and this if you can call it football at the moment, because fans are just getting so. I mean, DJ's got a season ticket. He's had a season ticket for a long time now, and I think, and I think DJ would be in agreement that this is probably some of the worst football we've played in a long, long time.
You've known me for a long time, and I've said this for about 2 or 3 years, not just recently. I've said it for about. It was
saying like that last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But the season before, I were getting slated by fans saying, "Oh, it's fucking terrible, this Dash. I've had enough of you. I've had enough." And I was getting slated going, "Oh, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to Burnley Football Club." I get it. But if you're coming on every week, you want to be entertained as a football fan.
I agree with them people, what they were saying to you there. He has been the best thing that's ever happened to the club. But you've got to
look at the here and now. I think it was Boxing Day. We got beat 5-1 at home to Everton. And then we went on the following game. I think it was New Year's. Was it New Year's Day? West Ham at home.
He put Eaton back in net, didn't he?
Yeah. So, but like 2 hours before kickoff, we were all saying, "Oh, it's terrible. Dash has got to go. He needs to make changes. And if he doesn't, there's going to be uproar." And he made 2 changes. Then he made the keeper change, and Dwight McNeil had come in out of the wilderness because Dwight hadn't played at all that season. And we won 2-0 out of nowhere. And we played some really good stuff. And I was like, how's he got away with that? Yeah, but he made changes. He noticed what was wrong and made changes.
He's got to do that now, though, hasn't he?
He's got to do the same again, but more. He's got to really, pull his finger out and say, you know what, we've been playing shit for quite a while. I need to change my style of play. And I think in a way, selling Chris Wood might do that.
Yeah, it'll force his hand big time, massively.
He hasn't got that long. He hasn't got that long.
He hasn't got that target man.
No,
which could be advantageous to us in the way we play going forward, unless he goes in the market for a big 6-footer.
Well, I'm gonna go there now. So let's go there. We are linked with Landon Dykes, if that's how you say his name.
Dykes. Landon Dykes, yeah.
At QPR. He has played 53 games at QPR and with the return of 17 goals in the Championship. Fuck off. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. He's not coming in. He's 17 goals. It's nearly as we'll pay 25 million for that. Or at least Newcastle will. They've just played 25 million for a free goal a season player. So
are you saying you don't want him younger?
No, I don't want him.
Right.
Thanks very much. Are you telling me you do want him?
No, not at all. Not at all. His best scoring form, from what I remember and watched of him, is
in
this
Scotland.
season.
No, Bobbins.
What about
Absolute Bobbins.
Kiefer Moore then? Kiefer
No.
Moore's been linked at Cardiff. Not interested in this player.
No,
I don't want.
no.
I don't know. I'm saying stuff here. I don't know who I want to bring in. Yes, we need a striker. I can't think of somebody that automatically pings in my head, and I think that's the person that we should go for. I tell a lie. There is one. I've already said it. He plays at Fulham. Mitrovic. I would go for Mitrovic. That's my. Yes, he's getting on in years, but he's still banging goals in, and he did in the Premier League as well.
He knows what net is, doesn't he? So I've got one for you. I think he's about 6'3", athletic, pacey, very quick.
Gifton Williams.
Not gonna get much game time at Villa. Bernard Traore. Would you take a punt on him, because he's not going to get game time because they've let El Ghazi go. They're on about letting Trezeguet go. I think going for someone of Traore's pedigree who wants to pick the ball up and just run with it. Going back to just digressing a little bit, but just going back to the point where you're making about who you want to come in and you don't know who you want to come in. So I'm going to make a bold statement here, and please pick me up on it if you think I'm wrong. I don't think Sean Dyche has got the minerals to change his way and style, how he wants to play. I read something today on one of the news articles. Sean Dyche has been quoted as saying, now that Chris Wood has left the club, they are looking at different ventures of adding pace into their attack to go with a different approach to how they're playing football. I don't think he's got the minerals to change it, because why would you change an habit of a lifestyle? He's played that sort of game.
He's had that striker. He's had that same striker for the last 4.5 years. And to be honest, 3 of them years, he wasn't really backed in many transfer windows, was he? That's the thing.
Not with Garlic. Yeah, not with Garlic.
It was minimal money, and especially the one in the build-up to last season. We were all like, you need to sign some players. You need to sign some. We wouldn't have been in this position if Garlic could have put his hand in his pockets and spent in the summer.
No, yeah. If he would have signed in the summer, we would have definitely been.
Or if he'd have signed earlier, if it had gone earlier in the summer, because we fetched Cornet in, didn't we? And
so would you be happy? And again, this is just speaking hypothetically. We've been linked with 3 players. We've been linked with that Fofana from Reims. Now, someone said earlier the bid's been rejected, but I've not seen anywhere where it said the bid's been rejected.
It said on Sky earlier that the club rejected that bid.
They're not interested in selling him, are they?
They're not interested in selling him in this window at all, so that rules it out.
Is that on Sky Sports? Yeah.
Definitely. I saw it on Sky, I think it was Sky.
I've seen it somewhere as well.
Yeah. Well, but I think if you look at that, until it's on Sky Sports, then I'll take note of it, because that's exactly what rumours were going about Cornet, and then we managed to get Cornet over the line. But the thing is, for me, is what Burnley can't afford to do is chase him all January, and then get to January the 31st and be like, shit, we've not got any plan B to go and get someone. There's 2 other lads we've been linked with. A lad called Fungal or something like that, and a lad called Anuchu, striker, not the Sheffield Wednesday one, not that muppet, not him. And there's 2 other lads, them, and apparently them deals are according to rumours, apparently the deals are close. Now that will lead on to my point of what I was saying about the only reason why I think they're not panicking is because they've already got the players lined up.
I think if you had players lined up and you knew that Chris Wood was going out the door over the last few days, you would have been pushing to get these players over the line. So then we could, because you can't now. They now can't. If they sign tomorrow, they still can't play on Saturday. They needed to be signed by tonight, didn't they?
This is down to my original point about transfers. Why weren't we active from the beginning of the window?
No, I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
the performances weren't right.
Yeah,
We say
exactly.
this every season, and Dash comes out and says, "Oh, we're really struggling in the January window. It's a really hard market to get involved with." Bollocks! Come on, be active.
It's the
We know
13th of
performances
January.
aren't right.
Yeah,
We're on
exactly.
the 13th of January. Not being strong. We are getting strongly linked with players, but are they genuine? Are they valid links? I don't think they are. And
would you look at the loan market?
We're making. There seems to be panic names going into the hat now since Chris Wood's been sold. Names should have been linked from January the 1st.
Yeah,
they should have done.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up was we just made 25 million. Great. January transfer is noticeably harder than any other ones, and people want to pay over the odds. Newcastle have just done it for our striker. So, do we just go into the loan market? We can bring in 3 loans for a Premier League club. Now, I think a loan of Ross Barkley until the end of the season, try and sign him at the end of the season. I think that's a decent deal. I think he's got a lot to prove. I think there's a midfielder who's currently out of contract, and I would have him at Burnley, and that's Jack Wilshere. Why would you not? Like, he's got Premier League experience. If you can get him into a squad and just try and keep him as fit as possible, he's a cracking player. He's scored some unbelievable goals and played some unbelievable football. He's free. Like, why not even looking at that? Like, he's already been a proven Premier League player. He just needs fitness behind him. So
go and give him a deal to end of season.
Get him on a deal until end of season. And then I'd be looking at bringing in a couple of loans. I'd be looking at Cole Palmer at Manchester City, cracking little player.
Yeah, great shot.
If you can bring him on loan, I think you've got a decent him and Jay Rodriguez up front. With once Vidra's fit, then unfortunately Jay Rodriguez would go back on the bench, and Vidra would be playing for me all day long, because I just think, again, we're talking about bringing a striker in with pace. Well, we've got a striker that's got pace and abundance, but we just don't play to strengths.
Don't play him. Yeah, we don't play him enough. Yeah, we don't.
When we had Charlie Austin and Danny Ings, we played to their strength. We put the ball on the floor. They weren't going to score loads and loads of headers from crosses. They picked the ball up and then had a little run at players and linked to one side and smashed it. I just think we need to, if you can't talk about adding pace into the squad when you've actually already got it there. Like, you've just got to play your style of play. Arguably, I want to disagree with Mark, but I actually agree with you, Mark. I'm not sure Sean Dyche has a change of system. I think previously what Deej brought up, where he changed, we were out on our feet, we needed a change. He brought in Tom Eaton and he brought in Dwight Neal.
It just lifted the whole. It lifted the whole crowd.
2 players, and Tom Eaton was a that person around the squad that looked like he ignited everybody or brought everybody together. And Dwight McNeil and ran at a defender, and
the new lease alive.
When he looked like he couldn't put a cross in, he'd wrap his left foot around it, whip it in, and Chris Wood would score a goal. And I arguably think that's might be something down to Dwight McNeil's form, is the fact that he has been putting balls into the box,
but Wood's not been.
But there. They haven't been. No one's been there to finish them.
Yeah,
and because they're not going in, he's not getting them same plaudits that he was getting last season, and he's getting picked up a lot for his tracking back. And I get it. I watched him against Huddersfield, and I think it's Huddersfield or maybe Leeds, and he got knocked off the ball a couple of times, hit the deck and took an age to get back up off the floor, and they were already on the counter-attack, and you think, we're fighting for our lives here. You hit that deck, you're up quicker than anything else, and you're chasing that ball. But for me, I'd be looking at the loan window. I'd be like 25 million in our back pocket. If we get relegated, 25 million to put back in the squad. If we don't get relegated, we brought in 2 good loans that keep us up. We've now got 25 million to spend on players that keep us in the Premier League. I think if you spend 25 million pound now, they've got to be proven Premier League players to keep you in the Premier League, knowing that they're going to keep you in the Premier League. If you don't want to waste a load of money, then loan signings, if you get relegated, they go back home. We then rebuild the squad.
So then I think, and both of you can chip into this one, because I think this is fundamentally now, like DJ mentioned it earlier. This is without the shadow of a doubt the biggest 6 months of Sean Dyche's career at Burnley, and my biggest concern I've got is how the fuck can Sean Dyche convince a player to come to Burnley with the football we play and the loyalty he shows to the lads that aren't playing well. If you're an up and coming player and you're being linked with Burnley, we've put a bid in, it's been accepted, and you're talking terms and stuff. The one thing that I'm going to be asking in that, or I'm going to want my agent to ask is how much game time I'm going to get, because I've seen you play the likes of the lads who don't play well every week but still get a game. Now, maybe that would change if he's got Traore, Barkley, Wilshere, Cole Palmer, or someone, along them on the bench, because you've got the reinforcements to change a game. Maybe it changes mindset. But my biggest concern is I don't necessarily think it's the club in the grand scheme of things. I think it's Sean Dyche sometimes. I think he can't draw that player in because people watch us and think, why do I want to go to Burnley? And that fundamentally is something that needs to be addressed within the next 18 days. He has to convince. You're talking about Premier League experience. Who's going to want to come to Burnley from a Premier League point of view experience?
I have to agree.
I agree as well. The style of play, like I said, has been awful for 18 months, 2 years. And there was a link with Aaron Ramsey, weren't it? Now, Aaron Ramsey, it's quite far-fetched, that link. But he instantly said, I don't want to go to Burnley. It won't be anything to do with Burnley as a club.
It'd be the football we play.
Aaron Ramsey would not suit Sean Dyche's style of play. He'd probably get 3 touches in a match maximum.
Yeah.
Because
he all goes over his head.
Going over his head from centre half, coming back from the strikers, hardly any touches, and he never gets in the game. That's where your style of play has got to change if you're going to attract the likes of Aaron Ramsey, who gets about on the ball from left to right, and he's just exciting to watch. And yeah, Mark, you're 100% right. Who would want to sign for this club under, unfortunately, the management that thinks we're not a million miles away?
But I'm going to pick that point as well, because we've got to look at Ben Gibson. Came in as, potential replacement to Tarkowski, and then Tarkowski stayed, and then we let him go, and then we signed Collins and as a replacement for Tarkowski, and he's not replaced Tarkowski. He's like sat on the bench. Well, hold on a minute. We've brought in Roberts, who's, I think, personally a better player than Matt Lawton, but for some reason 100%. Can't get in. I get it. He's picked up a little injury of late, but before that, why is he not playing? Why can?
I can't remember what home game it was. But he played twice for Wales in the previous week in the European qualifiers. Yeah. And then the following Saturday or Sunday, we were on the turf, and he wasn't even named in the squad. And a reporter asked, "Where's Connor Roberts?" And Dash went, "Oh, he's not quite match fit yet." I was stunned. I went, "Well, I watched him on BBC twice in last week. He looked match fit to me."
He just played 180 minutes for Wales, but he's not match fit for Burnley. He's not match fit for Burnley.
He never got on the bench.
Yeah, and I just really don't.
If you see things like that, it's poor.
So yeah, I've got
that is poor.
I've got one for you then. Well, I've got 2 for you actually. So
go on, son.
I don't think Dyche will be with us at the end of the season.
Okay.
I've made the decision that I'm sacking. I'm a chairman. I'm sacking Dyche right now. Who do you've got 18 days left in the transfer window. You've got 25 million from Chris Wood and whatever he'd set aside already for transfers in this window. Who is your new manager?
Sam Allardyce.
On a contract of how long?
Till the end of the season, and review it end of year.
Deej.
I don't really know, because in my eyes, he's got a job for life. So I can't see him being sacked. But if I was to,
I don't think he'll be sacked, mate. I think
if I was to choose someone, I'd probably go for someone like, I do like Chris Wilder a little bit.
I have to agree.
Like Chris Wilder, the way.
Would he leave Middlesbrough though?
Probably not. But if you're just naming names off a hat, I'd like him to get another crack in the Premier League with us, if he was to keep us up. That's that. But Sam Allardyce maybe, but he won't change the style of how we play. They're very similar in terms of how Dash was all, in terms of
think he'd give us
long ball and stuff. He'd definitely motivate him. He'd give him a kick up the arse.
That's what I was going to say. Give us some.
If a player wasn't performing, Sam would be like, get out. Sort your attitude out, fight for this club, and get on with it. So,
but is that not the concern though? Is that not the concern though for just obviously while Young is mulling over who he would bring in? Is that not the concern of that point you've just made? Why the fuck Sean Dyche not doing that?
Because I honestly think he's been there too long, and sometimes the longevity wears a bit thin with regards to plan A working in the past, but in the last 18 months it hasn't, and you think players must get a bit frustrated, right? This style isn't working. We haven't won in X amount of games. We've won one Premier League game all season, and I think a fresh approach isn't a bad thing. When you go on group forums and people say, "Oh, Dash out," blah blah blah, and then people say, "Who we going to get in? We're going to," and like it won't change the way we play. How do you know? How do you know unless you give someone that time? And I think it'll give the players a fresh start, a good kick up arse, if I'm honest.
So
but
from my point of view, and I agree with you on that one. So from my point of view, and Youngie, I don't do this too often, but I'm not blowing smoke up your ass again. But from my point of view, when we were playing football together, I know for a fact, if Youngie had a problem with the team selection, or he had a problem with how the team were being done, or whatever, Youngie would voice that to the manager and say, I don't think you're picking this team right. You're picking it wrong. You're not motivating us. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. So, from a Burnley fan's point of view, do you think Ben Mee should be actually discussing this with Sean and being like, where we're going? What's the plan, Gaffer? Because we've been playing really, really bad, and we're not going with no energy. We're not doing well. When does it come to a point when all of a sudden a player starts not revolting, but when does Ben Mee step in and say, what's going on? Do you think he does? Do you think he will? Or do you think do you think you don't get above your station?
Well, that a little bit. Maybe you might ask a couple of questions, but I think it's about getting amongst the players at that point. Like, what can especially at Premier League, a professional club, at our level that we were playing, it would have been easy to go to a manager and say, what's going on? Come on. We've got to do something different. We've got to try something different. And at that point, they would probably turn around to your senior players and turn around and say, right, what can we do different? Where in a Premier League level, I think, or at that professional level, your captain's got to be about your players, and he's got to be going around the players and saying, we've got to do more. Like Westy looks like he's 4 weeks behind everybody. Like, sometimes he's moving that slow. He's in reverse. I think
same as Lawton. No,
he does so many runs as Westy, where he runs back towards own goal without the ball to stand in between Tarkowski and Ben Mee to pick the ball up to pass it to Tarkowski or Ben Mee. You're like, why? Just get out of the way to each other, and you stand 15 yards further up the pitch and receive ball in there.
Get us up the pitch. Yeah, you don't need to be in that. You don't need to be in that space there. Get us up the pitch.
So
get us going forward.
Yeah, no. I would. If he went now, my picks, I can give you two. I would say I'll follow on DJs, and I'd like to. Chris Wilder would be up there. I'd like Michael Duff, to be honest. I want my Michael Duff coming back. Ex-player, got a lot of heart for the club. Yeah, Michael Duff maybe. Or do you give it to someone like Joey Barton, who obviously trying his luck at a lower level at the minute, knows the club a bit, takes no shit, plays a reasonably nice brand of football down there, could play football himself, has played at the highest level as well. I would.
I could see that happening eventually. I think if we were to be relegated this season and Darcy's struggles follows on from that season in the Championship, say we're mid-table and not a lot going on, there's no harm in taking a punt on someone like Joey Barton. As far as I'm concerned,
it instills something in us for sure.
It instilled the belief in players, the fight. You know,
pride for the club. Yeah,
he likes to fight, doesn't he? But it'd bring fans back, I think, and it'll freshen up the fans a little bit. You know, an exciting change, someone that will get the team going. Yeah, I can see that, but probably maybe in a few years' time. Not. I
think that's happening a little bit as well, isn't it? He hasn't got his fans on the club. Haven't got the fans on the side at the minute. You know, new owner. No. Fans were like, oh yeah, we've got a new owner.
Buzzing, yeah.
We signed Cornet. Oh, we signed Cornet. Now it's, well, Cornet's off to African Cup of Nations, and we're sort of like just ticking along without him. And it's like we're back to that same old motion of Burnley and I don't know. There's games where I've listened to, obviously I'm away, so, you know, listen to Burnley matches on the television, watch Burnley matches on the television. Used to be able to hear the fans screaming and shouting, and now it's like there's not much there. Like there was quite away games are always good because you get the passionate fans, don't you? That a lot of the time that go to away games and they up for singing and stuff like that. But
I'll talk from my experience on a fan's perspective. So you're right in what you're saying. Home games, they're a bit quiet. They try and encourage the team best they can, but there's a lot of spaces in and around the ground, and that's two factors. The style of football we're playing, first of all, it doesn't attract fans coming on unless you're season ticket holders, and secondly is the ticket pricing that went up this year. No one wants to pay £50 in the Bob Lord stand for the style of football we play. They don't, and that's why the atmosphere hasn't been as good. And you saw it if you watched Huddersfield. How empty was that?
Yeah, 7,000, and that's what I mean. Like.
I think they even lied about that attendance, 7,000.
We would. I don't know where
they got that from.
We would pay the ticket prices if the football was any good. If the football was attractive.
There is an argument to do that, but I think fans are getting a bit. Yeah, the patience is wearing a bit thin. When I'm on games and talk to people before at the cricket ground and in the turnstiles, etc. Because they just want a change of fortune and excitement coming off. They want to come off games and go, what a great game that was. You know, they put the work in and we deserve to win that match. But we're coming off going, bloody hell. You know, like, what a shower of shit.
We're not.
And we don't want to do that. You know, we pay good money to follow our team every week.
Yeah.
And crunch time.
So
this window, isn't it?
Here we go then. We are in 18th place. In fact, let me just start with one more. Dwight McNeil's been linked with Everton this evening. So I've seen that a couple of times on a few forums. Silly.
Well, if you're on about that link that came out with Everton and Villa the day after the Leeds match, right? Yeah. And they were branding 30, 40 million. Right. If any Clarets fan watched that Leeds game and then saw that link, they'd react the same as me.
Yeah.
Sell him. Get the money in.
I said yes that I said
why not
on Facebook to one of the groups, might have been Burnley Ace or something like that. Just people on there whinging about Tarkowski being sort of 25 million. I was like, anybody in that Burnley team right now, apart from Nick Pope maybe, you offer 25 million for any of them players, and you can have them. Any of them. There's not anybody in that team that's worth more than 25 million. Nick Pope maybe, but nobody else at the minute. I don't think.
I agree with you. I agree. Yeah. If anyone came in, you'd accept on the dotted line and get them gone. If it improves the player, so be it. No doubt, I think Dwight McNeil would improve his ability if he went to someone like Villa. I don't know if he would at Everton, but definitely somewhere like Villa. He'd 100% be the player he were a couple of seasons ago, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they came in, I can't see Everton coming in with big
but you
money.
Need,
they don't seem
you
to be
need
spending
that though,
it.
don't you? We do it. You do it in your work life. You know, if your work life's getting a bit shitty, you'll look for a new job, and then when you get a new job, you get that new lease of life, and you're like, "Woo, yeah, it's great."
I think the likes of Dwight will thrive under a new club or a new manager under Burnley.
Yeah. So we are currently sat in 18th place, played 17 games. We've won 1 game from 17. We've drawn 8, lost 8. We've scored 16 goals, and we've had 27 goals against. I saw a stat the other day, actually. Our current top goal scorer at the club, top goal scorer at the club is Ben Mee. With 2 goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on 17. We're in 18th. We've on 17 games played. So above us, we've got Watford, who have played 18. So we've got a game in hand on them. And we've got 2 games in hand on Newcastle. So that's great. But Newcastle and Burnley both think we could win all the games, and Newcastle could win all their games, but we're still in relegation zone. So we've got 6.5 minutes left of this second section, and what I want to do is, you've got 25 million. We're in 80th place. 2 signings you make after the Leicester game. Obviously, you know, I think if you sign them between now and Sunday, they can play on Tuesday night when we play Watford, which is arguably the biggest game that we've got going on at the minute. Like, so go on. 2 signings? 2. They don't have to be marquee, but 2 signings that would potentially help our situation that we're in right now.
Ross Barkley, just for an attacking presence, and I would like maybe like a Jesse Lingard on loan to end of season, Barkley, Traore. Striker wise,
that's 3, Mark.
Yeah, you've done 3 there.
No, I mean, like the
2.
same kind of the ilk of Lingard and Barkley, so to speak, along them lines. Forward wise, I'm not too sure, because I think we will get a forward from abroad. But if I had to name one, then I would be looking at you're probably right, Youngie, with someone like Mitrovic or someone like that. A proven goal scorer, whatever division he's in. But yeah, that's potentially.
Yeah, Ross Barkley always keeps getting linked, doesn't he? And we'd love him at Burnley. Yeah, I think that'd be a good one.
Lansbury.
Henry Lansbury? No chance.
Andrew Driver's on his way.
Andrew Driver, that's always a link, isn't it?
Yeah, Andrew Driver and Henry
Lansbury.
Lansbury.
Derek Reardon can finally sign for us.
Yeah, with striker wise, Adam Armstrong. Again, he's come out of the Southampton team, not playing as much. Get him in. I've got a feeling we will go for Jermaine Defoe. As much as I hate to say it, I think we could be linked to him coming.
Our forward line end of January is going to be Diaz from Blackburn and Jermaine Defoe.
Diaz. It won't be Diaz. No way.
Go on, Younger. 25 million.
At this rate, we could be signing that guy who's still playing in China at like 40 years old. old, 50-year-old nearly, something like that.
I saw that. Yeah, he's 54.
54,
Plays for
yeah.
his brother. 54.
Still playing.
Those are the sorts of players we should be going in market for.
It's like Gaz
Boy,
Smith.
Pete.
Yeah.
It's like Gaz Smith still playing at 46.
So,
who are you going for, Youngie? Come on.
No, I do
3
like,
minutes 32.
I do like the Ross Barkley shout, but I'd be looking at Jack Wilshere because he's on free.
Okay.
And then I've got 25 million to buy a striker. Now 25 million buys me a lot of people.
You can only put one.
I'm not saying I want to buy a lot of people. It opens up the opportunity to buy lots of people. For 25 million, you could go to Aston Villa and buy Danny Ings. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for 25 million, you go to Manchester United and buy Jesse Lingard. Never mind loaning him. You go and pay 17.5 million now and then give the rest to him in a contract and he'll be happy with that for 2 seasons.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
You know, job done. What do you reckon your chances are of getting 25 million and signing Zaha from Crystal Palace?
I wouldn't have Zaha given to us.
Why? He's better than any striker you've ever had.
Because he's a bell end. I wouldn't have him given to us. He's an absolute bell sniff.
But yeah,
has he done something to you in a previous life to say that? What
he might have done, but you know, I'd probably be looking at the Championship and seeing if I can. I wouldn't go to Bastards and buy Diaz. Fuck off. But you know,
sell him.
Fulham, Mitrovic is the top of my list. I think that's where I would go personally. He would be
maybe.
But yeah, that's it.
No.
But yeah,
so,
I think we're done, boys.
That was like a Burnley boardroom right now. What players do we go for? We don't know right now. what the fuck are we going to do? We're screwed. That is exactly what's happened today.
Unfortunately, DJ, you could be right there, son.
I think right. That was a recording of what was going on.
I think in that situation, though, we'd be like, right, we've got these players on the table. This is the order that we're going to go for them. If we don't get this one, we'll move to this one. And we'll move to this one, but they're all good players. We've named players there that aren't poor players. And you'd be happy to grab any of them players and put them in your squad.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Right, boys.
Right, well.
Thank you very much for tonight. It's been greatly appreciated. Deej, let's get you back on more often because I like this.
I'll do some match reviews if you want from Saturday.
That'd be good. Yeah,
let's do that as well. Yeah, we'll have one of them actually. After this, let's have one of them from Saturday and see win, lose or draw. We'll have the performance would be. Is he going to change anything now? You haven't got Chris Wood there because we're not going to get anybody in before then.
No.
So what's his formation? What does he do?
To do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do that, and then
cool.
Yeah. All being well, you'll see us we'll be on a podcast very, very soon. Not just on YouTube.
Fingers crossed.
Right, boys, thanks very much.
Enjoy it, team. See you later, guys.
Cheers.